Welcome everybody to 1 Million Cups. Glad you're here this morning. Let's see, is anybody here for the first time? Raise of hands, yeah? Oh, great, great. We got a bunch. Good. How did you guys hear about it down here? The internet. The internet knows everything. Cool. Back here, was there somebody raise a hand? Yeah. How'd you hear about it? Oh, Founders Launchpad? Yeah, cool. Welcome. I know about you, Ian. Cool. Well, we've got some great presentations this morning. Celadora is going to go first, and then second, we're going to have Crio Bru, our very own sponsor every week, is going to be giving us an update on what's going on with them. So, all right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and pass the mic off to Celadora. Let's go ahead and welcome them up.
Hey guys, good morning. My name is Eric Payne. This is my beautiful wife, Becca. We run a company together called Celadora, which is a film production company. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. So about us, we are a full service production agency. We specialize in cinematic corporate films and music videos. Cinematic being the key word here. At our core, we're a husband and wife team. So Becca and I work together. She actually just quit her job recently so that we could take on this venture together. We've been in business for a few years, but right now we're finally doing things together, and it's been a lot of fun. So at our core, we kind of do that. We can tackle a lot of our productions with just the two of us, but then we also scale our team to meet the demands of bigger productions. So when there's bigger productions that come in, have a little bit bigger budget, we need to do more, we'll hire on other crew members on a as needed basis. What that does for us, because we work that way, we are mobile and we're easy to travel. So we're able to get around a lot in other places, and we've done a little bit of traveling, but trying to do a little bit more of that as well. And we're also able to create the quality and the look of high-end productions at a fraction of the cost. So let's talk a little bit about what cinematic means and what cinematic films are. We like to create films that are beautiful and cinematic and tell a story about your brand. This isn't like explainer videos, this isn't like Kickstarter videos, it's not those kinds of things. These are videos that draw on people's emotions, and they really express the emotion of using your product or your brand and how that affects somebody and how it benefits their life. We create this look that is called cinematic, usually, or like the Hollywood look, that look that you get from big movie productions. And because we use the same gear, the same techniques that they do, obviously on a smaller scale, but we can get this look of big budget productions with a smaller budget. And as a production agency, we manage every aspect of the production: wardrobe, talent, props, everything. So this is a very different thing than just hiring a videographer to come in and do some work for you. This is, we manage the whole production and put everything together for you. I want to show you an example. We thought this would be helpful for you guys to kind of see some of our work. And here's a little video. It's a 1.5-minute video that we put together a few weeks ago, a month ago, that we did just Becca and I, and I'll go ahead and show it to you and then tell you a little bit about it. So I wanted to show that, just kind of give you an idea of our style, the way we do things, kind of how we develop our films. This is not for a client or anything. We did it as a self-initiated project that we did with a camera that we wanted to try out. We shot this in one day with a budget of $400, just the two of us in that one day, so no extra crew members. And obviously it wasn't ideal. We had to carry a lot of gear by ourselves, but it was a project that we wanted to do and thought would be really fun. So I wanted to show that because I think it gives an idea of kind of the quality and the production value that we can pull off even just by ourselves with a small budget, you know, and then when we have clients that come in that give us bigger budgets that we can work with, we're able to do even more than that. So I thought it was a good example of that. Our goals as a company currently, most of our clientele is in Utah currently with what we're working with. And we'd really like to travel and work with clients worldwide. We're kind of doing a lot of initiatives right now to try and make that happen and get clientele in other places in the world so that we can travel around and shoot. Our current projects are typically landing in the range of $5,000 to $10,000 for productions like this. However, we're kind of finding it difficult to continue working in that space because of the demands of these productions and the kind of, you know, talent is expensive, gear is expensive, locations are expensive, and as we're moving up into a larger range, it's getting more and more difficult to do that. So we'd really like to increase our budget range and be working with clients in the $10,000 to $50,000 range, which puts us into a small production agency range. And when people see our work, we gain new clients. I think our work does a pretty good job of selling itself, but we need to make a better effort as a company to get our work in front of more people. So what can 1NC do for us? Mostly these are in the realm of just helping us find new clients and network with more people to kind of get our brand in front of more people. Really helping us find opportunities to network with brands and especially ad agencies, and especially if they're in need of commercial spots or music videos, because that's what we specialize in. Also helping us with contacts, referrals, recommendations, any introductions to potential clients both locally and internationally. We had a sorry, I shouldn't have eaten before I came up here. We did a gig recently with the Stein Eriksen Lodge in Park City, if you're familiar with it. And you know, the marketing manager there, after working with us, introduced us to a friend of his who owns some beach villas in the Caribbean. And you know, now we're going out to the Caribbean in October to shoot some beach villas for him. And so it's that kind of thing. You know, there's always these connections, these people that you meet you can make those connections and do stuff like that for them, and I think we can help them out. And then, of course, help us find new ways to advertise and promote our work and our business and get it in front of more people is kind of what we're looking for. And so that's us. Thank you. So just take questions now.
In Provo, you guys do a lot of music videos, it seems like. So Provo, it seems like there's a pretty good music scene. Are you pretty plugged into that, or?
Yeah, we've been really involved in the music scene in the last few years. The company actually started primarily as a recording studio. We worked with a lot of artists, did a lot of recording with them. We've done a lot of YouTube videos over the years and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's in our price range now. We're kind of outgrowing that. Most of the local artists aren't willing to put down that kind of money for a music video, and so we're looking to move outside of Utah and move into bigger markets.
I think I'm a little slow. Is there some kind of deeper meaning to the promo video you had to check something? I'm trying to figure it out still.
There's really not. Don't worry about it. It really was just, we went out with a camera for a day and said, let's just make something cool. Let's just kind of show what we can do with just two of us in a day.
I think at the end, if you were like, put a talk or something, I don't know, tie it together, it might have more impact because it left me kind of going, which I don't think you want to meet your audience. So the visual was really cool. It just, I'm still like sitting here thinking, oh, I'm missing something.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's really hard to tie together cooking and Teslas. It was really just meant to be like a demo reel.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
Just a comment. I've just been going through your website. Looks like we have a lot of good clients, like First and Starbucks, and Novi. Some of these kind of moving into like a brand kind of video marketing. I don't know if that's where it keeps you up to the higher price point that more people like companies, but I can't see any samples of that. All the samples of I see like music videos. I search YouTube and I see random little credits and all these videos for Celadora Studios, but there's no like, so if as a company I want to hire you, all I see is, well, cool, you do music videos and like, somebody recorded the burn, help mix the burn cover for the measure. Showing those samples would be really helpful.
That's great feedback. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, as a growing company, we're really just trying to put things in a lot of places and show off what we have and people that we have worked with, and you kind of have to just push that a little bit, and we're trying to grow and make more of those things happen. But thank you. Yeah.
Where does your name come from? Is there something behind it? Or?
Celadora is kind of been noted that the most euphonious phrase in the English language is cellar door. If you guys have seen Donnie Darko, it comes from that movie, and kind of pulled it from that. We took the word cellar door and turned it into a name. This was years ago, and it just kind of stuck. We like it.
Cool.
Anything else? Oh yeah.
So what kind of challenges are you facing matching your skill set to the corporate world that you're trying to get into? I mean, is it strictly budget, or are you finding that you have other challenges that are kind of unidentified bottlenecks and you really haven't, constriction points that you really haven't been able to handle yet?
Yeah, I think unidentified is a good word for it. We're trying to figure that out, exactly what it is. We kind of think that it's more just getting in front of people and showing them what we can offer, and it's a slow business growth as a company like this, because you need bigger budgets to pull off bigger productions, and then you need those bigger productions to show off what you can do. And so we've been kind of working like a lot of projects where we've taken huge pay cuts in order to be able to produce something that we can put in our portfolio and then show to other people. And that's been really helpful for us. But at this stage, now that we have at least a portfolio that we can show what we can do, at some point we need to be paid for our work.
You said you wanted to have a $10,000 to $15,000 range. Are you looking to move to higher production level or a lot of smaller things?
So typically our prices, in the last 6 months have been in the 5 to 10K range, and we're trying to move above that because productions are difficult because they vary so much depending on what you're trying to do. How many days of shooting, what kind of gear we need to rent, how many crew members we need to get, and it can grow exponentially when you start adding gear and crew members and those kinds of things. For example, we put out a bid just recently for a project at $150,000. A lot for a small production, but if you think about it, 40,000 of that was going into just getting talent. And there are all these like huge expenses and costs, and they wanted to shoot in 3 different states and all these things. And so, maybe $150,000 for the production, but we probably, after a few weeks of work, would have only come home with maybe 10. Does that answer your question? So it's really not a matter of like we want to charge more. It's a matter of we have all these costs that are associated with doing that you don't have when you're just showing up with the camera. And so, with those costs, we actually just need higher budgets like that to be able to cover those things. Yeah.
Do you rent all your gear and equipment, or do you own some supplement with those?
Yeah, we own some. We supplement with rentals.
I work with a lot of production companies, and the biggest mistake they all make is they don't have anybody in charge of sales. They do it really as kind of an afterthought. So, the advice I always tell every production company is you should have somebody whose only job is sales. Like, they're not doing anything else. And because nothing will happen, that you should even just forget about everything else you're doing and just do sales probably at this point at a higher level with bigger clients. Because it's not fun. It's not as fun as it always.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I'm not a salesman. I'm here shaking.
How much do you network within your community? And you've got a really high-end charging guy right here in the building with Devin Grant. Do you network with other videographers? I mean, is it something that he's overbooked, so he refers to you? You're overbooked, you refer to him? Or, I mean, co-opetition, Ray Nordic out of that coined that term 30 years ago. You cooperate with your competition. Do you network with other video production companies?
Yeah, absolutely. We're well acquainted with Devin and other video production companies around here. We have good relationships with them, and yeah, we do get a little bit of that. Sometimes, you know, projects come through for those reasons, but sometimes. These are great questions, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Last question. What can we as a 1 Million Cups community do for you?
It's right there.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna ask.
Okay, Brett.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, really just trying to get in front of to speak to some of you afterwards, and if you have any ideas or thoughts, I love it. We're totally open to feedback, and really want to make this business grow and find ways to travel and work with big clients and have opportunities like that. So we're excited about where we're going. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay, yeah, why don't you come get plugged in? And as he's doing that, a couple announcements. So one is for everybody in Founders Launchpad. If you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and do that. The website is 1millioncups.com. You click on Provo, go down and just do apply to present, and then we can get you scheduled up. So that'll be great. And that goes for everybody that has something they want to come present. The other thing is, let's see, June 8th, there's going to be a Google event here where they're kind of teaching you how to get on Google Maps and optimize your kind of Google storefront there. And it should be a really cool event. It'll be right here. The event goes 1 to 3 p.m. It's on a Wednesday, and so we'll announce it again, but put that on your calendars. There's going to be food trucks here before, so you can come a little bit early, grab some food, do some networking, and then the event goes 1 to 3, and then you can hang out afterwards and chat with people as well. So great. Well, let's go ahead and welcome up Crio Bru.
All right, be here. We started this a couple of years ago. I think it was maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. We did one with the Provo 1 Million Cups, so that was great. A lot has happened since then, and it's a good time for us to come and maybe give a little update. We definitely appreciate it. From the very first one that we did, we've actually made some contacts from some referrals that we continue to work with. So definitely a big part of this is networking, and I didn't realize that the business world is so much about who you know and learning from others. So I'm glad to be here. So I'm with Crio. What Crio is, for those that don't know, is cocoa beans that we import from all over the world. We roast it, grind it, and you brew it like coffee. So I'm a chiropractor and a nutritionist. And I also am an avid chocolate lover. My dad was a plant manager for Russell Stover growing up, so we always had chocolate in our house. Then trying to reconcile my love of chocolate and trying to be healthy with my love of hot chocolate, I was kind of having a hard time. So around 10 years ago, there started to be all this buzz about how chocolate was healthy, and I wanted to figure out what I was missing, because chocolate, the way that I knew it, was not healthy. So as I started looking into it, the cocoa bean was an amazing superfood. By the time you have most chocolate products, the health benefits have been lost. So I set out with the goal of finding a way to harness these benefits, specifically the antioxidants and the healthy stimulant, theobromine, but without all the fat and calories. So that was really the genesis behind Crio Bru, and we've launched in October of 2010, so we've been around for about 5.5 years, and I'll give you a little update. We changed our branding about 1.5 years ago. I'm not sure for those of you who saw it, but actually right there on the underneath the brewer is one of our old things. It had an old logo. We had a different size bag, and one of the biggest things that we found, and actually was told this 3 years ago by one of the guys who was here. He was like, "Hey, this you kind of need to update the brand. The package that we had at the time was nice and it was artisan, but it wasn't something that really reflected a larger scale. And we heard that over and over again from some of the large national buyers. So we went through a branding process. We hired some professionals. We also did a segmentation study, because the interesting thing that we saw was our product was well received in all markets. Now, that being said, there's going to be some markets where it's received better than others. So we probably should have started our business out that way, but we didn't. And the guy who did our segmentation study was also a referral from someone we met here. So I'm a big fan of 1 Million Cups. All right, so this is the new packaging. We have cocoa beans from all over the world, and each color reflects a different country of origin. Our product is 100% cocoa beans. They grow on these trees, which look pretty cool. Cocoa pods grow all over. They're not just like peaches and pears where they grow on the outside. These things will grow right down on the trunks. They grow everywhere, so they're really, really interesting. We, after they've been harvested, I actually developed a process that is necessary if you're going to have a brewed drink. The way that they process cocoa beans for chocolate is very different. I found out through trial and error, working with hundreds of different plantations all over the world, certain patterns. Sometimes beans would work better than others, so I had to figure out what was going on. And I came up with this technique that is patent pending on a way to process cocoa beans at the plantation level that allows us to replicate these effects and have a better brewed product, which increases both the antioxidants and the theobromine. We have a good relationship with most of our farmers. I just got back from Nicaragua, where we have some new, really exciting beans that we're going to be working with this fall. And it's always great to be able to connect direct with these farmers. This is a big part of what our company has always been about, is working direct. And we haven't done so much marketing about that, but that's because I didn't want to be seen as a company who is just using it as a marketing ploy. It really is the heart of our company. So it's only been recently that I felt comfortable trying to let that word get out, because I don't really know how to explain that, but I did not want anyone to think that I was doing it to try and get people's sympathy. It is who we are. It's a very interesting thing. I'm not being benevolent. Most companies that think they're being benevolent and helping out the lowly farmer, they're totally missing it. I wouldn't have a product, I wouldn't have a company without them. So it's this symbiotic relationship that really is what's going to be the key. And that's what makes it socially responsible. I'm paying them better money for them to produce a better product. So they're in it just as much as I am. They're taking a risk on me, and I appreciate all of the work. So that's why the relationship is so important to me. This place in Peru, this farmer, was actually interesting. One of the things that we've done working with them is a lot of the younger generation, they're finding that they can't make as much money doing cocoa. So they're actually being paid as day laborers to go in the hills and work in narcotics. So some of the things that we've been able to do by teaching them how to process their beans in a better way is allowing them to make enough money that their children are now coming back to their farms and having an interest in growing this. So it's a generational change that we're able to make by working directly with these farmers. Crio Bru is prepared like coffee in a coffee maker or a French press. We also have a new product that we launched a month or two ago. It's in K-Cups. That was one of the things that a lot of our retailers asked us for. And it was really hard to do this. Been trying for about 2 years, but grinding the cocoa bean is really tough. Whenever you add any sort of heat to the grinding process, you start to melt it, and then it becomes basically chocolate. So trying to find a way to grind it really fine without melting it was tough. And I had to pay another significant portion to an upgrade on the grinder that I designed to be able to make K-Cups. Since we launched them, it's been really nice. We've opened up a couple of hundred additional stores. We are, even though we're still a small company, we are growing quickly. And in the stores that we are in, we are their #1 selling coffee alternative once we've been established, which is pretty cool. I think the reason why we've been so well received and why we have that rank is because I do use that term coffee alternative instead of coffee substitute. Most products out there are coffee substitutes. They're for people who don't drink coffee. Our product is for people who don't drink coffee and for coffee drinkers. In fact, we sell more than half of our product to people who are avid coffee lovers. So that's a unique market for us. that we are able to capture a broader audience than most coffee substitutes. Cocoa beans are very healthy for you. They're higher in antioxidants than most other products. And even though our product is brewed and is 10 calories and 0 fat, you still have almost 3 times the antioxidants as a cup of blueberries. There's a healthy stimulant called theobromine, which gives you a long-lasting, more natural, gentle energy than you're going to get from caffeine. So this is energy that lasts all day without the spike and crash of caffeine. We've had, really since we've relaunched last July, we've had some pretty exciting opportunities. We've picked up Sprouts nationwide. We're in Sam's Club. We're in a couple hundred of the Albertson Safeway stores. We had a chance to be backstage at the Emmys, and then we just did Cannes Film Festival. So we're getting some pretty exciting things happening for us, which is great. As our brand continues to grow, we really need to find better ways of getting the word out there, because this is a completely different genre, a completely different category. I can put it on the shelf, and we had this problem initially. We had store buyers who really loved the concept, and they would put us on the shelf. Nobody knew it was there. Nobody knew what it was. So it just sat on the shelves. So trying to do in-store demos is really expensive. So being able to try and find a way to branch out through word of mouth, through online social media, these are all things that we're testing right now to find the cheapest and easiest way. But as it is, we're really excited. We have done a lot of growth. We've grown about 300% this year so far. Our end of March sales were higher than all of last year's sales, and this fall we look like we're picking up a lot of additional stores. So I think we're learning. It's crazy. I'm working ridiculous hours trying to find ways of scaling up our production, and that's where one of the reasons why we're here is, again, more contacts, trying to meet people who can help us, maybe let us know of a better way of getting the word out there, or any contacts. That's definitely an important part, is this networking. So that's pretty much it in summary. So any questions? Yeah.
Does anyone else out there do the
So there's a company I started originally called Chaffee, and that was a company that I started with a friend, and he decided to go a different marketing route, so multi-level marketing, and I didn't like that, so I went retail. So I think he's still out there, and we've had about 5 other competitors come up since then, and most of them have failed because they don't have the grinder. I have the only grinder in the world that can do this, so their grinding it's a lot more coarse, and they also don't have the techniques that give a better flavor. So I think they always get compared to us, and we usually win. So most of them have fallen off the map. But the thing about that for me is that the fact that there have been so many other companies trying to do this is exciting. It means that brewed cocoa, I think, is going to be a success. For me, the goal is only how much of that success is my company going to be in charge of. I'd like to be the Kleenex or the Band-Aid of brewed cocoa. So hopefully Crio will become synonymous with that.
My wife won't buy chocolate. She loves chocolate. The reason she won't buy it is there's something online about child slavery and bad working conditions, cutting themselves with machetes, whatever else, on industries. And then there's supposed to be some sort of worldwide boycott. Is there an impact for you? What's the reality around that? What's your position there?
That is a reality.
That's part of your social
Yeah.
responsible part of it.
That is definitely a reality, and more so in West Africa than the places where I buy most of my beans from. However, I do have a bean from Ghana. But that is one of the reasons why that direct relationship is so important. Fair trade is a term that a lot of people are familiar with. Fair trade, like a lot of things, became too corporate, and it's tough. A lot of these farmers don't have the money to even get fair trade certified. So the next movement, I think, and what can be a step up, is called direct trade. And that's what we do. I know the farmers who grow it. I know the workers who come in and help the farmers. And I make sure that all of them are paid labor for that, and that there is no slave labor. But it is a problem in the larger chocolate community for beans that are bought by Hershey's and Mars and companies like that. Most artisan chocolate companies will never have that, because the quality of beans that we require is so much better that would never say that slave labor is involved in. It's just not something that the artisan community does. Those beans aren't good enough.
So recently I just watched a rerun of your Shark Tank presentation and how they kind of teach you guys for your valuation and things like that. What kind of, for this community, what kind of feedback did you get after that? Did you get a bump? What happened after that?
Yeah.
I know that was a few years ago. But.
Yeah, it was actually great for us. As for the valuation, that was tricky. Some of the partners that I had at the time required us to offer that valuation, or they wouldn't let us on the show. And I'm like, I'm going to get killed because you can't have a valuation. That's the worst thing you can do, is go on Shark Tank and have a valuation that you can't justify. So that being said, make sure you know what your company's worth and don't try and oversell it. It was great though, even though it didn't go like we wanted. First of all, the product is meant to either be hot or cold. And we had to prepare it like 2 hours beforehand. So it was lukewarm or cold, whatever you want to call it, which isn't ideal. But even then, we got thousands of additional new orders. And a lot of our customers to this day are people who tried it because they're like, wow, it sounds so interesting and I'm not going to believe those guys. So it was great. It was really a good experience. I learned a lot, and but again, and I would certainly change strategies. But yeah.
So you say you have a hard time getting the word out there, speaking of this on the shelves. What has worked best for you? Obviously something's working. What outlet and it's not something.
We've tried some things on social media, but honestly for us right now, the biggest thing that we've done is just trade shows. A lot of the stores so there's this critical mass. When you get to a certain amount of stores, then you can afford to do some of the advertising in store that needs to happen. But that's still expensive. So what I want to find is a way to do better and more geographically targeted online advertising. So we're doing some tests right now with Google ad clicks and things, pay-per-click stuff that I think will help get it in front of others, and Facebook advertising. Because we need to generate the awareness at the ground level so that they'll go into the store and try and buy it. And that's still one of our biggest obstacles right now, is trying to find a way to get it from 10,000 people to 100,000 people to 1 million people in a way that we can afford.
It seems like the health benefits are a huge focus for you. A number of times I don't like it, and I'm not one that's on a big health kick. So do you feel like it helps you to swim that way and make sure it's healthy, that it's pure, versus maybe making it a little bit sweeter that it feels to more people broader?
Yeah, so our most difficult market and to crack was Utah, because there are not a whole lot of coffee drinkers. I was not a coffee drinker. We're not familiar with that. I'm LDS or Mormon, and so I grew up drinking hot chocolate. So for me, this was tough. I had to learn how to like it. But when we go outside of Utah, where coffee and tea is much more common, we don't have that problem. In fact, at trade shows, we don't sweeten it purposefully because they're like, no, I want to see what it tastes like. Here in Utah, when I do demos, I almost always will have it sweetened, because you're still going to get those benefits. You've just added whatever you choose to add. And if you want it to be almond milk, coconut milk, and stevia, or honey and cream, whatever, you'll still get those benefits. So for sure, I try to let people know that you can sweeten it however you like. But as far as me having a product, I want it to be just pure. That way you can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about a side product for sweeteners, to where you have your main and then you have the Crio Bru add-in? I mean, that could be something that if you have it right there, I don't know how much shelf space it costs. You could just do it solely online. But that could be something to where you could generate a lot of revenue, because there's a great margin in that stuff.
Yeah, there definitely is, and it's something that we've toyed with, trying to figure out how to do that. But most people will have their preferred sweetener or creamer, so I'm trying to figure out what's the best bet. Do I release one and see how it goes? But I definitely have thought about it in the back first.
So what does your guys' deal look like? You have an official relationship with your egg?
No, there are third-party people now that their patent has run out. There are a lot of others who are making it. So if we if we continue to see the growth that we have, then we can go to Keurig and ask for licensing, but it doesn't really mean much anymore because they don't have the patent.
Is it possible to do the same thing with like vanilla beans, or is it a lot harder to do the same? I've never seen something like this, like vanilla. So
I do have one of my varieties where I'll add some ground vanilla to it, and I tried it with vanilla beans. Vanilla beans, first of all, are about 40 to 50 bucks a pound, so it's really expensive, really, really expensive. And it also didn't taste the same. Whenever you tried to brew it, it was, you get that smell, but it doesn't taste like that.
So you mentioned you have the only grinder. How large is it? How much can you produce? Is that actually implementation?
Right now, our grinder can do about 2,000 pounds an hour. So at some point, it will be a limiting factor, but we can grind a lot of product then. And I'm actually working on building the next one that will do about 10,000 pounds an hour. Over here. Yeah.
What's your favorite variety?
My current favorite is Ecuador. So I've had an Ecuador for quite a while, but this is a new bean. We got to the point where I could buy enough beans from this region where they have a really, really nice bean. So I buy everything that they have, and it's really, really good. After that, it would be Venezuela.
Do you drink it straight, or do you put
Most of the time I drink it straight.
Do you have any locations selling your product through like Tesco's or Starbucks?
There are some places. We have coffee shops across the country, but not a whole lot. That's one of the markets that I'm trying to figure out how to branch into, because it is a little bit tougher to brew than coffee. It's not as easy. It's not like a plug and play for them. So I do have a program where I will give you the machine that you need, but I'm not really rolling that out until this fall. So hopefully we'll be able to add quite a few locations where you can go and actually buy a cup, which I think will be another one of the key steps in getting the word out there at the ground floor. Because you'll go in, and we're going to do this buy one, get one free for the first month that every new coffee shop has it. So now you have a reason to try it, bring a friend in, see how it goes.
So I know a lot of companies who will offer free coffee to their employees. Have you considered reaching out to some of the larger corporations and help you out? Because companies also have the help and wellness programs and encourage the proposals of foods. So have you tried reaching out kind of directly to them, even if it's not them? And then getting the awareness that way.
Yeah, that's a great point. Again, that was one of the reasons why I developed the K-Cup, is because so many office coffees now, that's what they have. So until then, I didn't have an opportunity. So I think that will be a very positive way of getting the word out there for us. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah.
Just the classic question, what can we do for you?
The same thing that happened the last time. If you have any advice, any connections, if you have good social media referrals, advertising, like we're definitely looking at ways of continuing to grow. If you know somebody who's the owner of Costco, send him my way.
Well, you kind of came on the exact worst day, because Zoe is the 1 Million Cups organizer who generally brews the Crio, but she's gone today, so I did it, and I think I did a pretty bad job.
Oh, no.
So you'll have to come again and see what it's really like normally here. Okay, so next month, June, we're having, it's all blocked out for Founders Launchpad groups. And John Richards is actually going to curate a panel for us. So we're gonna, if you came, when did we do that? 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that. So it's kind of a fun change of pace. Let's see, Nicole, do you want to come up and do product hunt? Okay, Nicole's got a product hunt announcement for us.
Thanks, Anders. How many of you have been to a product hunt meetup before? So we do them once a month. We rotate and do every other month in Provo and Salt Lake. And we have them at our building on Center Street, 78 West Center Street, Big Door. And tomorrow we're featuring Hungry, Funded Today, Pure Sense, and Sir Wild. And so you get to go around and demo the products, demo the services. and hang out, network. There's free lunch, Nicola Talio's Pizza. So we just ask that you RSVP so we know how much food to buy. So go to our Big Door Facebook page and you can find the link to RSVP there. It's free, and come out and hang with us. It's a lot of fun. So, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We'll see you next week.
So are there any spots left for June? Why didn't we find it all?